Hey everybody, so with work and other things that just pick up at the end of the year, unfortunately I haven't been able to film too many projects or even actually work on any projects for my cars or even my house. However, today I did get to knock out a very quick project. I'd had a broken clip on one of the sail panels on my Tacoma for a long time, and my sail panels are where I have the tweeters mounted for the truck. So because that was broken, it was kind of just, I glued it in with some butyl, which is headlight glue. It's that thick black tar. It did an okay job. It didn't really hold as well as I wanted to. I'd had a new sail panel that I'd pulled out of a truck at the junkyard years ago, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. So I had a little time this afternoon, said let me go knock this out really quickly. The exact process that I used to modify my new sail panel to accept the tweeter is what you would do if you were mounting brand new tweeters to your sail panels that had never had any mounted before. So watch this video. It'll give you exactly the idea that you need in order to figure out how to mount tweeters on the sail panel of your first gen Tacoma. I'm not sure how the interior of later Tacomas looks, but it's probably a very similar process. Very simple, very straightforward. Just follow along and you'll see that pretty much anybody can do this. How to remove the door panels on an early first gen Toyota Tacoma. So really the only thing you're going to need tool wise is going to be some kind of Phillips head driver, either screwdriver or a drill, right? And you're going to need a rag. So a lot of people are going to wonder what the rag is for. I'll show you right now. First, let's go ahead. There's 3 screws to remove. 1 here, 2 there in the armrest. I like to use a tip that's a little bit broader so you don't strip the screws that are in there. These are a little bit harder to see. You get low, you can see them and take them off. All right, once that is out of the way, now you have to remove this window crank. If you've never done this before, you can waste a lot of time with a flathead screwdriver trying to get it, or you can do the smart thing. Take a rag, go here, and there's your pin. It comes up, remove it, pop this out. Remember, when you're putting this back in, pin always goes up here. That way you can always remove it the same way. Put it the other way, it's gonna be a nightmare. All right, with that done, now we need to move this forward. Right, it unhooks from the inside of the door and you're able to kind of pull it out. Right, now there should be a little white clip in here with a tab. A lot of people seem to think these don't come off. Yes, they do. You take your finger, push the tab, right, out that way, off of this, and this will come out. Do it carefully so as not to break the little white clip, and then slide this downward so you see it comes off. Alright, having done that, there's one small thing left to do, and a lot of people will botch this, so pay attention. See this little clip here in the door? Removing it is as simple as pushing in the center and then pulling it out. Do not attempt to pry on this or yank it out by force. Always just simply pop in the center, and then when you put it back in, pop it and then drop this in. Having done that, you can work your hand all the way around the door and remove it clip by clip. You want to take your time here so that you don't end up breaking any of those plastic clips, because then your door is going to rattle and it's annoying to break them anyway. I hate breaking stuff. Just got to work these guys up. Helps to pop this out of place. It's not in your way. And this just has to come up. There you go, door panel removed. In order to really be able to get at where I've connected this wire to the crossover and get this out easy, I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing out. Usually you can just use socket to do this. Phillips sometimes strips. If you use a nice broad Phillips, it shouldn't, which is what I tend to do. But if I'm using Phillips, that is, I mostly just tend to use a socket head. Alright, so let's see. This is where we get into the crossover. Looks like that crossover was velcroed in here and is no longer held by the velcro. That's not good. And let's unplug this. Remove this stuff. Crossover ain't in very good shape either, to tell you the truth. Screws are rusted to crap. One thing I hate about these things, like they give you these, like, you get this, it's all pretty gold plated screws, and then like it rust right through like nothing. But crossover inside is still good and it's still doing its job, so I can't complain too much, I guess. Negative to the left. Got this out. Let's go trade this little sail fin panel out. So looking at the back of the sail fin panel, you can actually see how I modified it in order to get the tweeter to mount to it. You see what I broke. It's like a little head here that pops into the truck. This one has it. I got this one from the junkyard probably like 2-3 years ago, and I just hadn't gotten around to that. So unfortunate realities of life. I gotta undo this with the socket and transfer this over to this guy, and then I'll be able to get a good look at what needs modding. I definitely gotta remove, right, some of this plastic reinforcement, if you will. Let's take these out first. Alright, so your socket right quick. Just loosen these guys up and get them out. Interesting. Feels like the screws are loose inside the tweeter. They definitely move at least. Alright. Grab this nonsense here. And just break it. Alright. That gives me room to where I can just grab this with my socket. I'll keep tension on the tweeter so that hopefully this goes easy. Alright, that's that. Tweeter should come out. Oh, that's really in there for whatever reason. The hole's just big enough for the screw, so kind of gripped itself in there. You gotta poke it out with like a screwdriver. Alright, finally. First things first, I want to break the plastic from around here all the way to up there. See, I knew this stuff was supposed to be glued in. I guess I'd already ripped mine out in the past. This one's definitely glued. Make sure I don't lose these guys. Alright, so come in with a Dremel. I want to be ways below this line. This smells horrible, by the way, so do this in an open place and wear some respiratory protection if you have. Alright. As low as you can with the plier and try to grab real low, that way you don't have to scrape stuff off later with the Dremel. Make your life a little bit easier. Now I'll use some tape to make a template off this so I know exactly where to drill this guy. Look at the Pioneer tweeter. Basically it has this like spider bracket, if you will, that kind of clips it into the little base housing. So you really got to fight this and tug it out to get it out, but once you do that, and I'm assuming this comes disassembled. I want to say it came disassembled, but it's been many years since I did this. Alright, once I do that, I don't even really need a template. I can just pop this on here more or less where I want it, right? And look at the old one, was say about a ½ inch off the edge. Do about the same thing here. I can just lay a piece of tape and then make my pattern. Want about this height, somewhere around there. Lay this guy down here. Take a permanent marker, right, and just trace that there. All right. Make our holes and we're good to go. So I'll take this punch and show you. I just basically went like that and pushed down into the plastic, just made a little indentation. That's going to serve me as a little kind of guide. And I'm going to take a very thin drill bit and make a pilot hole in each one. This being plastic, it's really easy to drill through. No need to go crazy. Right where I broke the tabs. So now these two holes I'm going to bring out to one size, which is 3/16. And I'll do all three of them, but this one I'm going to enlarge a little bit more past the 3/16. So probably could have done a step in between, but
not as crucial in plastic. If you were doing metal, you absolutely should do an in-between save. Alright, so the other hole I'll bring up to 7/32 seconds. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to take it up a little bit more than that, just to give me room to work with some of the heat shrink that's on the cables. So let's say I'll bring it up to 1/4. Basically my goes there. There we go. So that's that. Now we're fully drilled through. All we gotta do is mount the bait or tweeter and then route the tweeter through there. So let's go ahead and remove this tape. Take some of that shavings with it, it's pretty nice. Clean up the bottom a bit. Alright. So now put this guy on here. Holes line up pretty nice. Alright, put our little screws through. Put the nut on each side on the back. Okay. Got one in. Put the other nut in here. I'm going to show you guys what I'm going to do to lock this down nice and tight. So I'm going to take my drill with my Phillips head and just tighten it on one end while I hold it with the socket on the other. That'll give me a nice tight fit here. So, take my drill, grab the Phillips head on this side, socket, grab the nut on the other, tighten it down. Don't over tighten it, this is plastic, you will crack it. So just do it till it's snug, and that's plenty. Alright. So now you have your sail fin panel modified to accept a tweeter. I'm going to go ahead, pop in our little Pioneer guy here. First things first, let's route the wires through the hole that I made. Could probably stand to clean those ends up a bit with a wire stripper, which I definitely will do before I reinstall. Got the heat shrink parts a little thick, hard to put through, but not difficult overall, just a little harder, let's say. I want my Pioneer logo kind of vertical. Let's see if I can, okay, this actually has specific tabs I want to say that it has to fall into. Yeah, definitely looks like that's the case. Oh, I know what's wrong. I need to tighten this thing in the back. So it actually has a, I wasn't paying attention, this little guide on the back for where it's supposed to sit. So just have it sit there. And tighten this. Shouldn't spin now. Perfect. there we go. And just go ahead and reinstall this in the truck, and we should be good to go. Quick before I forget, gotta put the foam back on the back, and then I'm pretty much ready to roll. All you have to do at this point is reinstall it on the door just like it was, and put your door panel back in, and you're good to go. Let's say it's all the same. I can use whichever one of these. There we go. Let's go put this in the truck. Alright, so let's pop this guy on. There's probably just a small consideration of where the wire is going to sit so that you're not squeezing it. But let's drop it down. Always the sail panel goes on before the door panel and goes off after the door panel. Keep that in mind. I think it can kind of sit above the wire can. So let's pop this in. Yeah, wire looks good. Let me get rid of this residue. I'd use the window glue, the headlight glue, I mean, oxy-butyl, to kind of keep the other one glued in since it was broken. But this one will hold in because it has a little piece. So that's that. Reconnect everything, put your door panel back together, and now you have a tweeter in your door. And it looks fairly OEM. You can see my other one there on the passenger side. Just looks almost as if it came that way, and the sound is obviously much better. And there you have it. I have my door fully reassembled, and I've got my tweeter mounted. So that is how you mount a tweeter to the sail panel of your Toyota Tacoma. If you guys have enjoyed this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I post another one. Definitely going to be doing a ton more custom work like this. If you have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section. And as always, thank you guys for watching.